Welcome to the tutorial on how to add a shadow overlay to your project. The shadow overlay can calculate shadows based on your project's world location and one or more dates. Start by selecting Current Situation in the ribbon bar. Hover over Overlays. In the Overlay pop-up, hover over Environmental under Add New, and select Shadow. With the Shadow overlay selected, click on the Configuration Wizard button to open the Shadow Wizard. Once the Shadow Wizard is ready, click Next. In this step we can select one or more days, as well as the hours of the day. Once satisfied, click Next. In this step you can inspect the specific dates. The altitude and azimuth of the sun are calculated automatically, based on the moment in time, and the project's world location. You can click on the arrow buttons above to cycle through the dates, and optionally add an additional hour. Click Next to continue. By default, shadows are calculated using the digital terrain and surface models, rasterized in the selected grid cell size. In this step you can choose to use a grid overlay, such as a combo overlay, as an alternative to the terrain or surface elevation. We will use the default option and click Next to continue. Foliage of trees strongly impact the shadow calculations. However, these are not defined in geodata by default. In this step you can determine what way the foliage of trees is calculated. By default the foliage is calculated based on the height of a tree, multiplied with the foliage crown factor to approximate the foliage height around a tree trunk. You can provide an alternative grid overlay for a more detailed foliage. In this step you can inspect and adjust the functions that have a crown factor. In this step you can add an optional overlay that provides insight in the rasterized foliage crown factor. Adding this overlay will not impact the shadow calculation. In the next step you can adjust additional settings for the shadow calculation. When the sun's altitude is low, shadows can be almost infinite. To lower the overall calculation time, a maximum shadow distance is set. For the same reason, the foliage radius can also be limited to a maximum amount. Finally, the output overlays can be selected in the overlay step. By default the shadow overlay result is selected. Additionally, the calculated foliage height can be added. We can now finish the configuration. With the shadow overlay configured, click on the Update Now link to calculate the shadow overlay. To see the impact of a measure on the shadows, let's activate a scenario with a measure. Select Multi-Scenario in the ribbon bar. Select the scenario sound barrier and press the play button. This will start a test run that activates the sound barrier measure. Once applied, select the shadow overlay in the overlay panel on the right, and press the play button in the overlay legend panel. Notice the date and time are shown here as well. Click in the 3D visualization to inspect a grid value of the shadow overlay. A shadow's result value is 1 when a cell is in the shade, and 0 otherwise. You have now learned how to add and inspect a shadow overlay.